Go ahead, Mr. Hurley.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We are here to talk about the prospective middle school and programs for the Beaver Creek City Schools at Ankeny and Jacob Coy. So we're just going to take a quick moment to introduce ourselves. I'm Sean Hurley. I direct choirs at Jacob Coy Middle School, and I will pass it off to Mr. Weaver.
Hi, I'm Mr. Weaver, Andy Weaver. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade band at Ankeny Middle School.
Go ahead, Mariah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm Mariah Strickland. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at Coy Middle School. Justine?
I'm Justine Haynes, and I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade choir at Ankeny Middle School.
And I'm Laura Conrad. I teach 6th grade band at both Coy and Ankeny.
So basically, we're going to talk a little bit about these programs, and Mr. Weaver is going to talk to us about how your child can be part of the music.
Yeah, so the reason you're all here tonight is to see what the choir and band is all about for 6th grade. We're super excited for next year. We hope your children will join us for our 6th grade band or choir. It's lots of fun. This is where we like to invite all the 6th graders in, because this is where we start at the ground level. Every kid that walks in through the door, we want them to come in with an open mind and to be super excited about music. That's our passion, and we're super excited to share that passion with your 6th graders next year. This is kind of the ground floor. As I said, 6th grade band and choir. This kind of opens up all of the doors for all the extracurricular ensembles that you see at the high school level and at the middle school level as well. As you can see at the band level, that opens the doors for jazz band, percussion ensemble, jam band. That's also marching band at the high school. Some of the big well-known jazz 1 and jazz 2 at the high school as well. Opens up pep band that plays at the basketball games. Lots of fun stuff there. And then the choir level, that opens up everything from show choir to a cappella to there's a bunch of different ensembles that happen for the choirs at the high school level as well. And we really want you to start at 6th grade, because that's where we can start building good habits and starting a foundation for your musical experience through middle school and high school, because those awesome opportunities that you get in those extra ensembles, those you have to be part of a musical ensemble during the school day in order to participate in those. So in order to be in the marching band, march Friday nights on the field, compete in marching band stuff, you have to be involved in a band class. In order to participate in show choir and be up with a cappella, again, you have to be part of a choir class. So this is where we really want to get as much interest in as many students as we can in 6th grade, because that's where we can start to build their musical experiences.
All right, what do our classes look like? So this is just a little bit of information. It's definitely different than the specials rotations that your students have experienced in elementary school. Choir and band meet every single day, just like a math or English class. So maybe first period they have math, second period would be English, and then third period they might come down to their music class. So for a period a day, they would be with one of us. It is a year-long course. Some of the specials have rotations that happen every quarter or every semester, but our courses are year-long courses, so students get a good experience of what it's like to really participate in those ensembles. And then it's very little outside of class commitment. This is one of the #1 questions that we get every year, because our students are involved in lots of different things, and the transition to middle school can be very concerning and maybe a little overwhelming for a lot of people. We have 2 to 3 concerts per year, and those are the only really after school commitments that students would have. Every homework piece that we have also helps them like build their musical skills. It's not busy work. It's not like they're sitting down with tons of worksheets or anything like that. A lot of it just pertains to what they're going to do in class, so we can kind of hit the ground running when we see them in class. And then lastly, we focus on teaching your student the skills they need to grow as musicians. So this can be everything from learning to sight sing, where they're looking at a piece of music and they can already pick out exactly which partials and which song, like what the song will sound like, talking about musicality, talking about how you connect with the music emotionally, which are all really important skills for students to have as lifelong learners.
All right, so band, sixth grade band starts at the very beginning. So we want students to walk in with little to no knowledge about instruments and music and stuff like that. Obviously, they'll hopefully have some elementary musical, they'll know some instruments, but we kind of want them to come in with a blank slate so that we can, again, start the good habits right away. We can teach them all the skills correctly so that they can grow upon those awesome skills as we go through sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, and into high school. In the band world, the students will get to try every single instrument that the band offers in sixth grade. So they'll get to try flute, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, baritone, tuba, percussion, all that fun stuff. They'll actually get to try. And that's really a really cool thing that we do at Beaver Creek, because a lot of schools, they say, okay, pick your top three, and then we'll try those three, and then you pick from there. Okay. We really want to have each kid experience all the instruments, because they might find something that they really enjoy that they didn't expect to enjoy. Again, no experience required, and no instrument is required at the beginning, especially sixth graders. If you're coming in and the sixth grader has in their mind, I'm going to play trumpet, and then they try and make a sound on the trumpet, doesn't go so well, and they try the flute, and they just, wow, I'm really good at the flute. Didn't even know I wanted to play flute, but that actually is going to work well for me. That would be when we would talk about getting an instrument for those students. So don't go out and say, oh, Timmy wants to play trumpet, let's go get a trumpet right now. We want to wait until we're a couple weeks into that sixth grade year to pick instruments.
All right, so looking at choir, so just like band, no experience is required when you come into choir. We don't expect students to know everything there is to know about singing. We start at the very beginning, start at ground level, and we teach them all of the elements of singing that are important. So we teach them a proper way to breathe, we teach them proper singing skills, and we teach them proper posture. And we do a lot with the very beginnings of choir with sixth grade. And so they work on unison or two-part singing. And so a lot of them are used to singing in just like all together in their classroom, in their music class, but splitting into two parts is very difficult for them at first. And so we work on just splitting those parts and teaching them how to read music. We do teach them the basic skills of reading the staff and reading music theory, and how to pick out their part and find where the music goes, follow along. And again, we don't expect them to have all of that knowledge, but we teach it in a fun way and teach the whole child in the classroom.
So in Beaver Creek, a lot of what we do is talking about being just a part of the music. Our music programs are really strong, and that's because we have so many students that have found a great passion for our classrooms and what we can basically build upon them as an individual. So these are the things as to why you should want your child to be a part of the music. And that's, you know, kids love being here because it's a class with their friends. We are an elective, so if their friends choose to take band or choir, the likelihood that they will be in a class with their friends is very high because of the limited sections we have. It's a chance to kind of break out of the mold of a traditional classroom space. So instead of, you know, sitting in a chair the entire class and maybe having to focus and drill on, you know, aspects of their education that are important, we offer to basically engage another side of the child, which is asking for them to be creative, explore, make them feel just confident about themselves. So this is an environment that it's very group centered and group oriented, that we want to be as inclusive as possible. We also have special opportunities for kids that a lot of other organizations can't provide. For example, we like to go to competitions, and we do some things like OMEA competitions, which are large group, again, judging us on how much we've progressed over the year. We even go to places like Kings Island to perform, because we want this to be an experience they remember, and we want this to be an experience that truly fulfills them as a musician and just as a person. And then having a fun class built into their schedule, that's probably the number one reason to do it. I'm sure a lot of times you hear about, maybe what happened in PE or what happened in art. And those happen once a week at the elementary school level. But now they're going to get that opportunity every single day to be engaged and try to enrich this part of their personality. So this is just a few reasons why we would love to have your child be a part of music here in Beaver Creek.
All right, here's some things that parents tend to love about their student being involved in the music programs at Beaver Creek. The involvement is the largest student organization in the district between the band and choir, and that's across middle school and high school levels. Just a massive amount of students choose to participate in either choir or in band. Statistics show students in music are among the most academically strong in the school. And that's pretty consistent. If we just had an National Honor Society induction at the middle school level, and looking at the list and how many of those kids are in band or choir consistently every year, it's a lot of them, the majority of them. And it teaches life skills that go on even past making music. So while making music is fun and it can be fulfilling, we're also teaching them skills that are going to benefit them long-term, no matter what career or what path in life they choose. Things like self-discipline, teamwork, critical thinking, and self-expression.
So we got some frequently asked questions that we wanted to answer before we kind of delve into the comment section on YouTube. If you do have some questions after we do the FAQs, write those in that comment section in YouTube in the comments, and we'll answer them towards the end. But we want to hit these right off the bat so they answer a lot of the questions we typically get. First question is, my child wants to take choir or band, but they don't know how to sing or play an instrument. Can they still join? Absolutely. We want those open minds and those ready, eager to learn students in that class. We prefer them not to have any experience in those fields, because we can start at that ground level. Just make sure I hit everything in this bullet point. From the class, no experience beyond what they learned in elementary. Yep, perfect. Yep, so they also learn to read music with us, how to choose an instrument, learning good singing technique, everything we like at the beginning, them to come in with an open mind and not quite know how to do, because we can teach them the right way to do it.
Right. So next question that often comes up is, will my child have the opportunity to take other classes such as art and gym if they participate in band and choir? And the answer is yes. So there are 2 elective periods that are built into their school day. One of them is taken up in 6th grade by required electives. So half of the year that will be devoted to art for 1 semester, and then the other semester will be devoted to health and PE. So the other elective period can then be taken up by band or choir to fill that second slot. So that allows the child to participate in music without sacrificing any of the other classes that they really may like.
Mr. Hurley, I think this one was you.
Oh, I didn't even notice the slide change. Forgive me. Yeah, so I think this is probably one of the biggest things that most students are kind of scared about, coming from elementary to the middle school, and maybe parents too, which is like the workload. How do you balance it all? You have now 8 periods in a day. And what's great about that is this is probably the best scenario. So the combination of 2 things: first, choir and band do not give much, if any, homework. So that is really a big part of our philosophy, because we don't want students to be overburdened and start to resent maybe being in that class. So this is really about trying to prepare and also build the child so that way they can really excel. And then secondly, in our school day already, we have what's called a flex period. And during that amount of time set aside every single day, students will go during one of the periods. Typically, it's at the end of the day for the past couple of years. And that flex time is 100% student driven, meaning that they can speak with teachers if they're having issues with homework. They can go ahead and they can speak with other classmates if they need help. But it's all their time, and it's time built into the day, so that way they can get work done. So that is how we help manage, not overburdening, and then also the school day helps us as well.
All right. Next frequently asked question is, my child is interested in a music class, but also participates in other activities like scout sports or other clubs. Will they have time to do band and choir too? Absolutely. Our kids are on sports teams across the district. They're on the robotics teams. They are involved in youth group and scouts. One of the things, especially at the middle school level, that is I think a big focus for us is we want them to be able to try as many things as they want to find out what they're into and what sparks their passion. So we focus a lot on really limiting the outside of the school day commitments. Like we said, we still have our concerts 3 times a year. But other than that, there are no outside of school commitments.
Next question is, we are unsure if this will be a good fit for them. Can they wait to join band or choir this year and join in 7th grade instead? The answer is yes, but it will be difficult. Again, 6th grade, we learn all the basics. You get to try all the instruments in band. You learn your voice parts in 6th grade, 7th grade, or sorry, 6th grade choir. And then in 7th grade, that's where we build upon that level of skills. So if they miss that bottom foundation, it's very difficult to hop onto that second level without that firm foundation. Has it happened before? Yes. It usually takes private lessons once a week with a professional musician, but it is difficult. It takes a lot of effort, especially to hop past 6th grade music and hop into 7th grade music. So we highly encourage everyone at this point to sign up, get in, get a feel for what band is, what choir is, and then that's where they can make their choices from there. It's kind of, everybody should have that experience, we believe, in 6th grade, so that they can say, oh yes, I want to do this in 7th grade, or no, I don't want to do this in 7th grade. We totally understand. But 6th grade is where you get to experience most of that.
All right, so the next question we get is, do a lot of kids participate in band or choir? And the answer is yes. So historically, the music program in Beaver Creek is one of the largest student organizations in the district. And this is really great for your child because they get to go in and have classes with their friends, but really have a sense of community and a place where they can make new friends. And it's often a very easy thing for them to do in this situation because they're in a room full of students who enjoy doing the same thing. And so they find common ground in those situations very easily. So yes, a lot of the kids do take band and choir. All
right. I think this is the last one. And it's, if my child wants to do band, do I have to get an instrument right now? No. And in fact, please do not. We actually have a meeting with parents, band parents specifically, at the beginning of the year next year, where we talk to you specifically about what to do depending on what instrument your child chooses. And there's also not so good instruments out there. Sometimes we refer to them as instrument-shaped objects. And we don't want you like spending your money on something that's not going to be a quality instrument for your student next year. So just hold off on that right now. We can always help you if you find something that you're like, I think this is a really good deal. Please contact us. But in general, please do not buy an instrument yet.
So this kind of brings us to the end. I know we're going to pause for questions, but here's our contact info just on this last slide in case you need to get a hold of us. You know, this is really the best time to get those questions out of the way. So that way you can be confident that you're making a great choice for your child's next year schedule. And I just want to say thank you very much for joining us. If you're not going to stick around for any questions that we may have had commented on the YouTube channel. So thank you from all of us, and we really hope to see your child in our class next year.
Sign up for band or choir.
Yeah, the box.
Hey, I'm going to hit on just a couple questions that came up in the chat. All of these were answered in the chat, so they've seen these answers, but just to throw them out there. First, with the instrument fittings, someone asked if they're giving guidance to help them choose their instrument and band, and yes, they are. We have professional musicians come in and help the kids try every instrument to make sure they get a good idea of what's a good fit for them. Someone asked, is there an option to choose one semester of choir and another semester of band? Unfortunately, no. Both of those are year-long courses, but what your child can do is they could do one during the day as a class and participate in the other after school as an extracurricular. So for example, you could take 6th grade band and then after school do show choir. So that's a way you could get both things in. There was a question about the financial side of participating. It kind of depends on what your child does, like choir versus band have different costs, and then even within band, depending on what instrument they play. But both of our programs feel very strongly that no child should miss out because of the cost. So if your child is interested, we would love to have them. And if there are financial things we can assist with, we're always happy to do that. And then there was a question about when they'll be signing up for classes. It's different for each elementary school. So your child may have brought home the paperwork already. If they haven't, I believe it'll come out by the end of the week. But you'll get that from their elementary school, not from us. More questions are coming in. Here we go. What happens if my child chooses an instrument that a lot of other kids pick? Will there be a conflict? It normally works itself out, but we let kids pick. So if every kid plays percussion, then I guess we're just going to have a lot of drummers that year. So it doesn't really matter if more kids choose one. And the same's true in choir. If like every kid has the same voice part, well, that's just what it is. We're not going to force kids into something they don't want to do. If my son plays electric guitar, we don't use guitar in normal band, but we do use it in jazz band. And Sean and Justine, have you guys used guitar with show choir before?
There's a combo aspect to it, and that typically happens at like the either advanced middle schools, like 7th and 8th grade, or the high school. But every once in a while, we will throw a guitar on one of our choral songs, maybe during a concert.
Cool. All right, thank you. My son is intensely interested in both band and choir and is having trouble choosing. What advice can you give us to help him decide? That's a little bit tough because at the end of the day, you do have to choose one. I
YouTube videos.
What'd you say, Mariah?
I said I would YouTube different videos, and just see what I mean, but like professional choirs and like professional bands and what kind of sparks that interest. But then I would also consider for your son what we were talking about before, where they can participate in both. And actually by the time they hit 8th grade, if he is still interested in both, he can end up choosing both as his 2 electives. So he'd only have to kind of split during school and after school for the first 2 years. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're fine. Someone asked, how can you participate in the specialty groups? They specifically mentioned jazz band, but both of our programs have specialty things like the show choir, the a cappella, the jazz band. To participate, you have to be signed up for either band or choir. So if your child is signed up for band, they can participate in show choir. If your child is signed up for choir, they can participate in jazz band. Like they can cross that way. Each of those groups has different participation requirements. Some of them are just sign up, like 6th grade show choir is just a sign up activity. Some of them are auditions like jazz band and the a cappella group. When those groups are getting ready to start each year, we share that information with the students so that if they're interested, they know how to become a member. Sean, here's a good one for you. My son has been told that choir is only for girls. What advice can you give?
I'm right here. Uh, Actually, this is a huge misconception. And I would just say, have your son think of every famous singer that they like, and I bet a lot of them are males. So choir is inherently for both genders, and it really isn't an issue. We've had a lot of guys in both of our programs, and I don't know. I think last year I had like the majority of the football team, like literally, I think the majority of the offensive line in my classroom. So it's never been an issue. So, don't worry about it.
A question about, can one student play multiple instruments? In sixth grade, start them by choosing one instrument. Now, as they get older, a lot of our students do branch out, and like some kids may play the flute in regular band and then play the saxophone in jazz band. But in sixth grade, they would start by choosing one. In terms of getting instruments, someone asked about the rental structure. It kind of comes down to what your child picks. And we talk about that more in the fall, because it really does. We have to know what your student's going to play, and then we can help you get that instrument. Some of it is through a rental program. Some of it comes from the school. I think that's all the questions. If I missed yours in the chat, I'm very sorry. If you could send us an email, if I missed your question, all of our emails are on the screen. Or if you think of a question after this is over, myself, for Coy Band, if you're interested, for Coy Choir, it's Sean Hurley. Ankeny Band is Andrew Weaver, and then Ankeny Choir, Justin Haynes. We are more than happy to answer any of those questions. And then, like I said, you should be receiving information from their elementary school by the end of this week if you haven't already. So I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.